Hello, my name is Eddie, the brains behind the blog known as Wichita by EB, and I'd like to welcome you to the Eddytorial, a podcast or safe space of sorts to share opinions with other different guests on a wide variety of topics that may spark your interest or lead you to find another podcast. Whether it's interviews, top 10 lists, 30 minutes of mindless banter, this is the Eddytorial.
There's plenty to talk about and plenty to do, so get the gossip, get the scoop, and tune right into the editorial to keep you in the loop. It's the Eddytorial, a Wichita by EB podcast.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Eddytorial. I am pretty excited about today's episode. I think we kind of put together this interview on a whim. Today I have Dan and Becky Norton, owners of Nortons Brewing Company. Welcome, you guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Appreciate you having us.
So, like I was telling you beforehand, I'm not really good at this interview stuff, so the shit could hit the fan, or it could be like a lot of paused moments where we're just kind of sitting in awkward silence. So.
That's totally cool. You can edit however you want.
I'm not doing any editing. That's what Trussell Media Studios, that's what they're here for.
Okay, cool.
Shout out to our sponsors on that one. We're here in their podcast studio, so.
Yeah, this place is sweet.
It
Love
is.
it.
I like it.
Okay, so let's just do a little bit of introductions. Like, tell us about yourselves and kind of what got you started.
Sure. Go ahead, Beck.
Oh, I go ahead?
Ladies
Yeah.
go first.
Yeah.
I'm Becky Norton, married to Dan Norton. And I don't know, we decided to open a brewery because he had been brewing for 18 years at River City. And we kind of wanted to do something together and do something with our own personalities. So that's how we got the idea.
Yeah, we no retirement plan really per se at my old job, which is fine. But we started having kids, and Becky was working her way through school, getting her degree in business management from friends. She absolutely killed it. All A's, honor roll, all kinds of special recognitions over there. And she's super smart and definitely the brains of the operation. But once she was almost done with school and we were having kids, it's like, what are we doing? What are we going to leave? What are we going to have to leave our kids someday, So we decided to make a run at it, and we kind of call it front porch dreams. We would sit on the front porch at night and have a beer and talk about what if we opened a brewery someday? What would it start off with? What would it look like? And all the cool things we would do with it. And so we started a Pinterest board and started putting together different aesthetics of what it would look like, and then what it would feel like and what it would be all about, and just kind of unchain me to be able to brew whatever kind of beers I want. And
So an actual Pinterest, like you guys went on Pinterest and they started adding the things on there?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
You really don't strike me as a Pinterest guy.
No, not me. That was her. She ran
okay.
the
Okay.
Pinterest board. She
Hey,
ran
don't
the
let
Pinterest
him lie
board.
to you. He's got a Pinterest
I
board,
did
too.
download the app. I don't know.
When's your last login?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Probably before we opened the brewery.
Let's reverse things back. So for you started off as a head brewer at River City.
Yep.
What exactly is a head brewer?
Well, I started off as the assistant brewer. The brewer at the time needed help, and I was the only one that had any home brewing experience that was working there, and I volunteered to help. So I worked for him 2 days a week, but not for long, for like 9 months. And then his wife got a job offer in Kansas City, and so they were going to move to KC. He applied at Boulevard and got hired at Boulevard.
What year was this, roughly?
2000.
Okay.
And then I figured, well, they'll just hire some head brewer and I'll be the assistant. And they offered me the gig, and it came with an internship at 75th Street Brewery in Kansas City, which we were affiliated with them back then. It was a ownership called KC Hops, owned 75th Street, McCoy's Public House, River City, Springfield Brewing Company at the time, I believe, and a couple other things. And so they sent me up to KC, and I did an internship for a month. And then they turned me loose down here in Wichita, and it was a rough first 2 years, me figuring everything out.
Was Steve Sanford at River City when you were there?
Yeah, so I hired Steve to help me out in the brew house 2 or 3 years into.
I don't know. We had been
Maybe it
together
was
by the
longer.
time Steve came along.
Yeah, maybe it was my 5th or 6th year.
Funny story, like Steve and I went to college together. And
Really?
he was my pledge son in the fraternity that we're in.
Pitt State?
Wichita State.
Wichita State.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So I remember like him working at River City, and back then at our age, I was just drinking like Natty Light, MGD, whatever we could afford and whatnot. And he told me he was working there, and his dad is like really big into beers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I think back then, River City was just really it.
Yeah. No, it was the
yeah.
only game in town for. I was the only brewer in town for 7 years.
Yeah.
My first 7 years, we were solo, and then Wichita Brewing Company opened, and I was like, thank God, another brewery, And then we've had a steady stream of them, and we've got a really good beer thing going on here in Wichita, and really proud to be a part of it and kind of be the granddad of the group. But
so around that time, were you at? I did some reading. Were you at Gambino's then, or was that afterwards?
Gambino's was afterwards. So I worked at the corporate office for Gambino's, and one of the stores came up for sale, and we had been kind of talking about a brewery at that point. And I didn't have any restaurant experience whatsoever. I'd always done bookkeeping, stuff like that. So we bought the Gambino's.
Which one was that?
Conway Springs.
Okay.
We owned it for 4 years, and I kind of got some experience under me with just the atmosphere and the books of a restaurant and all of that. I was going to school the whole time while we owned that also.
So what was that like owning a restaurant back then versus now?
Well, it was interesting. It was in a really small town, Conway Springs, so it was definitely small.
How many other restaurants were there, would you say?
In Conway Springs?
2.
There was 2. There
One
was
of them
the
was a
bar.
Casey's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Casey's was our biggest competition.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had a bar
Okay.
that sold food. But, yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
Just a small little thing. I think we had 12 employees.
Yep.
I don't even know how big. I don't even know where Conway Springs is at. I don't know how
Down
many people.
south.
Okay.
Like 1,500 people or something.
That's
Yeah.
good. Hefty. That's good size for 2 restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward, you guys are doing the Pinterest thing.
Mhm.
You guys on the front porch doing the dreams and whatnot. So where did you come across this building that used to be? Was it a boat dealership?
It was a Marine World.
Marine World, yeah. Mike Rhino owns that building. He owns the Tracy's Automotive and the Cheesy's Pizza and
across
all
the
that.
street.
Really nice guy. We found out who owned that building, approached him with our idea of what we wanted to do with it, and he thankfully kind of held on to that building for a long time while we put all the pieces
over
together.
a year.
Yeah.
And then he loved the idea so much he wanted to invest some cash in the business as well, and so he's kind of on board as a partner. And we couldn't believe that location. We were looking at it. The inside of the building was super cool. It's really loud in there. The acoustics are very loud. So we're dealing with that, but the location is awesome. I love being right downtown. I love being around so many live music venues and us doing live music too. And it's just just so much stuff to do downtown. It's really great to be a part of it.
And you guys opened on April 20th,
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
Was April 20th? Was that on purpose?
No, man.
It wasn't, but it turned out pretty
I
cool.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it turned out real
That was
cool.
pretty cool. I remember that day. I was like, man, that just sounds so cool to open
Yeah.
a place on 420. But
We didn't even realize it till I think the day before or the day of. We're like, wait a second, this is gonna be our anniversary every year. Is 420.
Yeah.
So
you
we
guys
are,
make it a big deal too now.
yeah, we call it Nor 20 and have live music and do all kinds of fun stuff. We had some baby goats out there this last year, and we try and do some cool events and stuff.
So when you guys opened up, you had I remember you guys had the was it the little axe
Oh, the flight boards.
flight
boards with the
boards.
axe.
Yeah.
And then you guys had like the funnel cakes and the burgers.
Yeah.
What happened to the funnel cakes?
The city happened to the funnel cakes.
Of course.
We had a funnel cake fryer that we used for them, and 3 years into being open, the fire inspector came through and he was like, "What is this?"
Keep in mind they've inspected that funnel cake fryer
Yeah.
for 3 years. And
Yeah.
then- yeah.
Told us we had to get it off the premises that day or he'd shut us down.
So I don't know the rules about funnel cakes and whatnot, but could like someone set up something outside? Could there be like a funnel cake stand?
Well, his argument was that it needed to be under a hood fire suppression system, which I get, but we did look into it before we opened, and as long as it doesn't hold more than, I forget how many gallons of oil, and it's electric and not gas, that it didn't need to be under a hood. And so ours wasn't, because we didn't have any more room under the hood. So we had it off to the side, and we were making funnel cakes and loving life, and then the same guy that inspected it 3 years in a row came in and acted like he had never seen it and told us it needed to exit the property that day. So we begrudgingly have 86 funnel cakes since then, but would love to get back in the funnel cake game. We hired somebody from the state fair to come teach us how to make them correctly because we were struggling at first.
Is that person still working with the department?
No, he
he's
retired.
Oh, so there might be a chance.
There might be a chance.
Okay.
We could probably talk to our new guy. He's pretty cool.
He is cool. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to get back in the funnel cake
Funnel
game.
cakes was one of the very first things when we talked about a brewery. We wanted funnel cakes.
And the odd thing is, every now and then I'll get messages like, "Hey, where can I get a funnel cake in town?" And I used to always say Nortons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know, who to suggest now. So
Yeah, wherever the nearest carnival is.
Yeah.
okay, so that's kind of where things over to like the brewery scene. One thing, like, I'm not a huge beer guy. I drink a lot of alcohol and whatnot, but
Sure.
beer's, whatever. But one thing I respect about the brewery scene in town is just how collaborative and accepting it is. Like, I don't see that in any other industry in town. And like, what causes that? Like,
It's just such a okay, first of all, our industry is a lot of work, and that's what people don't really seem to wrap their heads around is 90% of our job is cleaning. Like, we clean, that is our job. Everything has to be clean, sanitized. And so it is a laborious job, but the artisanship of it, the product we're creating is something that's fun and enjoyable and builds camaraderie. There's nothing better than having a beer with your buddy after work, and the fact that we make beer for a living. And we also want to see this city thrive and become a destination beer city. One of the first things we ran into when we were looking for banks to start a brewery, we got told no 13 times, and all 13 of those banks told us they thought that Wichita was oversaturated with breweries already.
how many were open at that time?
6. And so after the first few, I did some research and put together this little spreadsheet with cities around the country with similar population sizes and how many breweries were in the downtown district of those cities. And we were like dead last. Like, we're nowhere close to being saturated with breweries. Every neighborhood, I think, should have their own brewery.
It's interesting you say that because I remember when Tor Brewing announced their opening, a lot of the comments I saw was like, "Oh my gosh, another brewery! Just what does Wichita need? That's the last thing we need." I'm like, I don't think we have that many because you go to like Kansas City. I was in Denver this past summer or whenever it was, and just the density of breweries is crazy.
It is.
And then even in Wichita, if you look at the density of any other type of restaurant, whether it's like a Mexican restaurant or like a burger chain or whatever it is, like there's a high density of all those. Yet breweries, there's how many you said in Wichita?
I think there's 7 now.
I mean, it's under 10.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's under
It's
10
under
for sure.
10.
So, yeah, it's just
With a population of 400 and some thousand,
Yeah.
it's not a lot. I think there's a new one getting ready to open in Augusta.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But I think we could use a few more. But yeah, the camaraderie is, we collaborate on beers together. We hang out together. We go to each other's breweries and enjoy each other's beers and company. And it's just really full of really down to earth people and just really good human beings. And, I think I'd like to think it's like that nationwide, but maybe we're just lucky here in Wichita.
I know it's
I
like
think it is. We travel a lot for like big beer events and beer festivals. And,
I always see see when there's events going on. There's pictures of like all these brewers from
Yeah.
Wichita.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've traveled all over the country together, and we have a lot of fun, and we meet new brewers from other states, and everyone's always just having a lot of fun together and hanging out, and really cool, sharing ideas.
And in regards to the brewery scene, not to bring up the competition side of it, but like what sets you guys apart from like other breweries in town?
I think our goal is to provide an experience. We definitely wanted a full service kind of restaurant. That's been my background. I grew up working in restaurants my whole life and always front of house. And so we definitely thought we wanted to provide a full service restaurant and brewery, and the outside beer garden was high on Becky's list. Providing an experience, doing live shows, doing events, and just creating a space for people to gather and with friends and family and just hang out and enjoy good beer and good music and good company. And I don't know. I think I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. That's a loaded question.
brewery is an art form, right?
Yeah.
Brewing beer, it's an art form. So, like, Dan's an artist, and every brewery is very special to the people that opened it and the people that brew the beer, and so everybody's personalities shine through.
Yeah.
So, every brewery is different because it's owned by different people, and the beer is different because they have different ideas. And so, you come to Norton's, you're getting Dan and Becky.
Yeah.
You know, you go to CSB, you're getting Nathan and Andy and Ian and Hopping Gnome, Stacy and Tori, we're all different people.
Your answer was actually spot on to what I was going to say. I was going to say personality.
Yeah.
Like when I come to Norton's, like I don't know if there's the right word, but like I guess the edginess you guys have, like from walking in and seeing the Beastie Boys mural, I was like that's the type of vibe I like, It's like it's super chill, and it's not to say nobody else is like super chill either, but it's just I think what you guys do kind of like speaks to my vibe, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's been the number one most rewarding thing, I feel like, for us is that we can just express ourselves, and it's, we decorate for holidays, and I'm like, I love these skeletons on this wall. I'm going to leave them there all year round, and we can do that. Like it's, like she said, it's we're able to just be ourselves and let that shine through our business, and, thankfully, people have reciprocated and found it a cool place to hang out. And we even had recently an 84-year-old regular of ours, unfortunately passed away. Erlene was her name, and she brings her family in like once a week. And she made her last wish was that some of her cremains were put into a creepy baby doll and put up on our foyer of our entryway with the other creepy baby dolls that are up there. And her kids contacted us, and we set it up and made it happen. And now we have one of our regulars hanging out with us always and forever up there. And that's just, cool. I don't know, things like that we're able to do that for people. And, me working in restaurants my whole life, I was, my stride was customer service. I was always a really good server and bartender because I was friendly and just, and I still just have that in me. Like I'm incapable of letting anybody leave unhappy. So I really strive for customer service, and connections with people. And, this whole thing has been a real blessing, I think. And I love working with my wife. That was a huge thing for me. And, we make a really great team, man.
So you brought some drinks.
Yeah, I brought a couple beers.
While you pour those real quick, I'm going to turn things over to Becky. We're going to talk about this beer garden.
Yeah.
Because from everything I've read, that was like your brainchild, what you wanted the most. And anytime we go in the summertime, especially, we have to sit in the beer garden.
Yeah.
So walk me through the process of that and the vision you had and how it all came to be.
Well, I mean, we had traveled all over the country, been to so many different breweries, and the time we've been together, and every brewery that we went to that we just had an absolute blast at had a beer garden.
Yeah.
And so when we were opening the brewery, that was like our number one goal. We had to find a building that had room for a beer garden.
Mm-hmm.
So the building we had, our beer garden used to be a parking lot. And Mike Rhino was like, I don't care what you do with it. You can make a beer garden. So, yeah, I don't know. I just picked out my favorite parts of all the beer gardens we had been to and just wanted a space that felt like you're hanging out in your backyard.
How many people does it seat?
350.
And you guys have how often do you guys have live bands and whatnot out there?
Usually a couple times a month during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing it more, but the live music is kind of just something that we love to do.
Yeah.
It's not something that, brings a lot of money to us. It's just something that we love to do. Yeah.
It's interesting. I was at an event downtown this summer, and I was on the rooftop somewhere. I heard this music from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over the rooftop and I see everybody over at Norton's. And I don't even know what event it was, but I was like, I have to make my way there after the party. And I think Jose Estrada was playing.
Oh,
I remember,
God.
I think I ran into you and Aaron.
That was such a good show.
Yeah. And it was just, everybody has the beer garden packed. Everybody's having a good time. It's just good vibes, good people. Just, that's what I love about Wichita.
Yeah.
Just places, venues, moments that bring people together, whether everybody puts whatever's bothering them aside and gets together for the sake of a good time.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
that's what it's all about.
And what do we have in front of us right here?
You've got Cuddle Party. That is a Montmorency cherry and coconut sour beer. Little hint of coconut, but those Montmorency cherries from Michigan, they're real, kind of the cherry pie cherries, real tart and up front. But yeah, just a nice little fruited sour there. And
I'll say, like I said earlier, I'm not a big beer guy, but every now and then when we do like go from brewery to brewery just to hang out, like sours have become like my thing.
sure.
But I really don't know what I'm drinking. I just know I like them. I don't know what they are really.
No, that and fruited sours, most breweries around town will have a fruited sour on tap, and anybody that's not a beer drinker that is a wine drinker or likes cocktails, normally you can get them situated with a fruited sour, and they can tolerate that or maybe even enjoy it.
Yeah, I do enjoy them. I had a non-fruited sour one time. I forgot which brewery it was, but it was the first time I had a sour that wasn't flavored, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like way different."
Yeah,
I don't know if it was my thing, but I was
Sure.
like, I just kept on drinking, and I was like, "Oh well, we're all in now."
Yeah, lots of different ways to sour beers, and those different ways contribute different flavors. But then, when we've done our fruited sours, and it's usually one of our biggest selling beers, so we just keep kind of a steady stream of those coming.
Another one that I always get at least one of is, and it's crazy because I'm not a stout guy at all. Like I don't drink any stouts, but I always get Don't Poke the Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Cool, man.
It's the one I always get at least one of, and I don't even know what it is I like about it, but I was like, I gotta have at least one.
Sure.
And
Do you like coffee?
I don't drink any coffee at all.
Really?
No. I
That's
just
strange
for some
that you
reason,
like.
for some reason I just love it.
That's cool, man. I
But
appreciate
it's like
that.
one of those I can't drink two of. But I was like, I'll drink one of, and
Yeah.
move on to the next one.
There you go.
And then here lately, that next one is the build your own old fashions.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you guys had a good time with those in the
my God.
Igloo.
We got a little too many that night, but who came up with that idea? Was it Nico or
Nico and Paige.
Yeah.
And they've, we carry these pretty high dollar bitters, and
Yep.
we only had the one old fashioned on there, and they both have been immersed in the cocktail scene for a long time, and I love the fact that we have a full bar too. And when we first opened, we were just like, let's just have some wells for people that don't want to drink beer, some just a call well, if you will. And then it's like, well, let's get some better bourbons, and then it's like, well, let's make a little cocktail menu, and then it's like, there's nothing cooler than going to breweries and then also going to cocktail lounges that specialize in cocktails. Like, it's a lot of fun to play around with stuff. And so we rotate some things through, and they had this idea of pick your own bitters, pick your own simple syrup, pick your own spirit.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, let's try that out. And people really seem to like it. So
I think people just love the build your own anything, like
Sure.
the whole Chipotle deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one person I want to shout out is Nico.
yeah,
This summer, I judged a cocktail competition.
I was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where they had invited a bunch of mixologists, bartenders, and everybody competed.
Yeah.
And each round, a certain number of bartenders were knocked out, and everybody was given like a different liquor to work with and just different ingredients. It's like an Iron Chef for mixologists and whatnot. And it came down to Nico and Nathan over at Good Company.
Yep.
Both fantastic and whatnot, but I was watching them. I tried both drinks, and my vote went to Nico.
Yeah.
And I would told him that after. I was like, man, I thought you should have won. But
Right on.
not to say Nathan did a bad job.
No,
This
sure.
was great. They both were phenomenal, but Nico's he just really nailed it from the start of it to the end of it. Like, I thought he was the most consistent in all his cocktails. I loved it. And
Yeah.
I remember I went in, and he's like, you got to try a couple of these cocktails. And one was the Build Your Own Old Fashions, and the other one was the Purple Haze.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if anybody goes to Norton's, you got to try that. That's excellent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Nico's awesome, man. I love, he's making beer with me there as well, and bartends one night a week, and he likes being behind the bar and stuff. And he's definitely brings another aspect to the brew house, kind of a mixologist's mind, and he's very into flavors and combining flavors, which really suits brewing well too. So he's been killing it back there in the brew house with me, and I love working with him. He's a good dude.
And I think it's adding that additional layer just brings more people in, because some people go for a couple beers and whatnot, then they want to switch over to cocktails and whatnot.
Sure.
So just like adding the extra layers really helps. And I mean, for me,
Yeah, something for everyone,
Yeah.
man. We even brought in some wine. I was like, we're only carrying one wine. It's Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill, and then all the bartenders are like, Dan, come on, dude. Like, I get the nostalgia of it, but at least some Boda boxes,
Some slap
you know?
bag.
Yeah,
Later that
slap
night.
the bag.
Yeah. So, are you in charge of the food side, or how's that all work out?
I mean, we're kind of collaborative on that,
Yeah.
but
What's the most popular food item? If someone were to come in and they go, give us your best 3 selling or best 3 most popular food items, what would you say?
bacon crack, the chicken sandwich, and probably the Norton burger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get funnel cakes back on there one day, hopefully.
Oh, we're trying.
Dude, let's go. Yeah.
Who do we need to
I'm on a
petition? Who do
mission
we need
now.
to petition for that?
I don't know. It's either don't ask, don't tell,
Okay.
and just do it, or clear
Well, now
it
you've
with.
told everybody.
Yeah.
Clear-
If we have to go the right route, who do we need to talk to?
What's his name at the?
Our fire inspector.
It's a new guy. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Well, I'll look
his
it up
name.
and I'll
right.
shoot him an email, a kind, polite email. It's like, hello.
So this is
I'm a big
under
fan.
3
Yeah.
gallons of oil,
Yes.
and it's electric. The fryer is. It
That's
doesn't
right,
need to be
next
under
to
a
the
hood. That's right. It's pretty damn close to the hood. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure when this episode will be released. It might be next week. It may be next year. Who knows?
Okay.
I don't run by schedule, but it's wintertime. I know that for sure.
yes.
Let's talk about the Igloos, because
Yeah.
you guys were I would say the originators of the Igloos. I know there's a couple more that have popped up around town, but it all started at Norton's. For anybody that's never heard of it, they're these. What are they made out of?
PVC and clear vinyl. So the structure is PVC, and then there's a clear vinyl cover with a door and a couple windows that unzip. And we saw a brewery in Michigan up in the snow doing these, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And they're shaped like igloos.
Yeah, shaped like little domed igloos. And so we got some PVC and made some igloos. And
We did the first year.
When was that?
It was during COVID,
2020? Was that?
2020. Yeah,
It was
I believe
2020,
so.
yeah, because COVID hit, and then we were like, okay, this is scary.
Yeah.
Plus, the beer garden dies off in the wintertime anyway. It's like, what can we do to bring more people in so we can survive this?
Yeah, I had been wanting to do the igloos, and everyone thought I was kind of crazy. And then COVID hit, and I was like, we've got to do these.
Yeah.
People could hang out in little clusters of their safe people, you know. So the first year, we made my mom make the covers.
Ugh.
She does upholstery for a
Okay.
living.
Bless her heart.
And that was a nightmare.
That was
but she pulled it off.
She did. It was an undertaking.
Then I found a company that just sells them. And so the next year, we...
You guys made them, you mean? Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you guys just had 3 at the start, then you expanded to 4 that
Yes.
first year?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I
And
got to
then-
say, when you guys rolled those out, I thought it was the most brilliant thing in the world.
Thanks, man. It really helped us out.
A couple years before that, I was in Denver visiting a friend, and he mentioned the igloos. So it's like, this would be such a cool thing for Wichita.
Yeah.
And here we are. And you
Really?
guys, yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
I
Yeah.
don't know what place was that, but he talked about how, obviously in Denver, sometimes the elements people want to go out, but they had these igloos. And
Yeah. Yeah, and then we ran into a thing where they only seat 6 people, so it's like, how do we get like a full dining table situation in one? And then again, my genius wife, listen, she has these ideas,
Yeah.
and I'm always like worried about spending money, and then she proves me right that they're gonna make the business some money, and she's basically always right. And that's something that I've learned is just, if she's got an idea,
You just can't admit that all the time.
I know.
Then you lose the battle. When you're trying to
I
debate
grew up
something.
real poor. So like, it's like I don't like. I try and be frugal, but
So then what you're talking about is like this year you guys released the Big Igloos,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
seat 10 people, have the dining room and whatnot. One, who came up with that name? Because I'm a big advocate and fan of play on words.
Yeah.
Nico came up with the name.
oh,
Big
Nico
Lou.
did come
Yeah.
up with Big Lou. Yeah.
And then it kind of grew on us.
Yeah, that was Becky's idea, and then I assembled it, and it took
How long did that take?
4 days. And it took about a year off my life.
Yeah.
There was like 7,000 nuts and bolts. It was insanity.
Like putting together a playground set?
Oh, dude, it was
Oh,
wild.
the instructions are horrible.
The instructions sucked. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But and then now we probably won't have live shows this summer because I don't know where I can't disassemble that. and put it away. It's gonna stay right there all summer.
Could you guys like buy that lot immediately to the west? Is that just a parking lot?
To the
west.
west.
No,
Oh,
that
that's a
parking
sore
lot's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't talk about the parking lot.
Yeah.
We won't talk.
No
about it.
parking lot discussions. We love downtown.
All right. What else is new with you guys? I saw you guys just did a collaboration with Social Tap. It's a restaurant
Yeah.
that started up at Wichita State on Rayburn Square.
Yep.
And they just opened up a second location at 21st in Greenwich.
Yes.
So how'd that come about?
Right place, right time kind of thing. We've been looking for a couple years at maybe doing a second location, like a tap room, and being able to distribute our own beer to ourselves kind of thing. But unless we own the building, we didn't really want to do that again. So we met some guys, and they're really great people, and they run a really tight ship and a good business. And
Justin and Luke?
Yep.
Justin and Luke,
Yeah,
you know
I
them,
went
yeah.
to college with them, yeah.
Yeah, right on. Super great guys. And we talked about a collaboration. It was just an idea, and it kind of happened all really quick.
It did. We met them, and then we met them again, and then it just kind of started happening.
Yeah.
It's like we all really liked each other and liked the idea of what we could do together.
Yep. So essentially, we get a second tap room location out of the deal. They manage and run it, and we both kind of collaborated on it.
So by definition, what is a tap room?
A tap room is, well, I guess the definition of a tap room would be just a building that serves beer and can have food trucks. So I guess that's not the right definition, but it's definitely a collaboration, a business venture together that we're both involved in now, and hopefully beneficial for both of us. I know we're loving it so far, and I love that we got a second place. You can go and get 12 different Nortons beers on tap, and I love that we don't have to manage it.
So what is a collaboration exactly? What are you guys doing? You guys are brewing certain beers or new beers or
Yeah, we're so I'm gonna keep 12 taps full at Social Tap, 21st and Greenwich, and some of those will be one-offs just for that location. You can't get at our place, and then some of them will be some of our more popular beers that we have on tap at our place as well. So
are there plans that they can get the beers to go in the future there?
yeah, I think so. They have at the WSU location, they have a crowler machine, and they fill beer to go, and I believe that's in the works for this location as well. So that's exciting.
And the plan is we'll be in the WSU location also. They're just working on some zoning stuff right now.
Yep.
Any chance of bacon crack happening at Social Tap?
Oh no, that's all ours.
Okay. Okay.
That's proprietary.
So what over the years, it's been 2018, we're at 6 years.
Coming
And
up.
7 years coming up on April 20th.
Yep.
420 day or NOR 20.
NOR 20, baby. Yeah.
What's been your favorite part about all of this? Like the journey?
My favorite part's just doing it with Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, us building something together that we've worked so hard on for so long, and just getting to be able to like be creative together all the time.
And just making it like this long is very impressive. I mean, you look at all the stats of places closing after a year, 5 years, whatnot, and like every time I go to Norton's, it's a good crowd inside.
Yeah.
And it's something to be very, blessed about. And have you guys ever had a chance to like sit back, pause, just like look back at what you've created?
Oh, a million times.
Yeah.
I've shed many tears. Just, first time we had live music there, I was crying. Like I'm a big crybaby. Like
I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah.
I'm a very emotional guy. I get it.
So I do take a step back and look, and especially when we're having a special event that we worked really hard to put together, like it hits me for sure. It's a grind. It's a daily grind, and I couldn't be more happy to do it with Becky. And it's so refreshing to be able to, like I said, be ourselves, be creative, put things together, and make it happen. And we're just really, really excited to be a part of everything that's happening in Wichita. It's a great freaking city, and there's so much to do. And anybody that says any different is crazy.
We just need to change our motto to Wichita. It's a great fucking city.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah. You said, one of your favorite parts is, work with Dan. And there's a lot locally owned family businesses where it's like the husband wife collaborations that work together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what makes it work? Like, how do you guys make it tick? Because I'm sure there's some days that may not be easy, and some days are harder than others. It's like,
I mean, sure. Dan and we're, I think, a rare breed. Like, we just are best friends. We get along really well. We don't really ever fight. So,
well, that's because you're always right.
well, I mean, that helps. No, I think, he has a different set of, we bring different things to the
Yeah.
table.
She is
you
the
know?
brains, I'm the brawn.
So we're not really ever stepping on each other's
Yeah.
toes. Like,
Everybody has their lane, and they know what they bring to the table.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not both like looking at the books and doing accounting work together. I think that would be insanity.
Yeah.
And she's not in the brew house, trying to brew for me.
The only
And-
thing I did in the brew house was make them make slushies, beer slushies.
Are you guys bringing them back next summer?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, every year.
yeah.
Dan
summer.
hates them, but I love them.
Everybody likes what they like.
They like. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
people seem to like them, so will continue.
As long as people are buying them,
I
right?
will continue to make them for everyone.
What am I drinking on again? This is pretty
Oh,
delicious.
that's a Cuddle Party. It's
Cuddle
a
Party.
cherry coconut sour.
Okay.
Mhm.
Enjoy it quite a bit.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So, what's next for Norton's? Future plans. I know some people always ask, like, what's your 5, 10, 15-year plan? I never know what I'm doing with my life. So, if you guys don't have the answer, totally fine. But, like, what's next,
yeah,
if anything?
I don't know. What is next, Beck?
I don't know. We have a food truck that we have to do something with.
Oh, really?
So
We do have a
probably
food
see
truck.
something coming around with that next year.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and hopefully some more growth with Social Tap.
yeah.
And
And
I
then,
don't know.
And then the fourth location, just a straight death metal tap room.
Next year,
Dan's biggest dream.
next year, I'm going to make it to, was it the Death Metal Fest?
Oh,
Couldn't-
yeah.
I couldn't make it this past year, but I'm 100% going to check it out.
It was a great time. It was a great time.
What
A
time
lot
is
of
it?
work, but
So, for anybody who's never heard of it or been to it, what is it?
it's our beer and metal fest. We try and have it as close to Halloween as possible. Usually on All Hallows Eve. We've done metal shows and then a beer release. We release a beer every year called Dad the Metalhead. It's a Mexican hot chocolate imperial stout. And the last couple years, me and Cody Sherwood were kicking this idea around about incorporating a beer festival with that event, and we made it happen. And we try and bring breweries from outside the area to come to it, and we've been fortunate enough to get 20 breweries, from most of them from out of state, even, to come and pour beer at the thing and bring a one-off beer that nobody else can get. So it's all beers you've never had before in your whole life, which is the big thing about craft beer. It's like, if you've never had this beer,
Yeah.
you have to try it, kind of thing. It's like, I don't know. And so it's just a lot of good breweries bringing some really good beers that no one's ever had, all in the midst of a death metal concert with multiple bands and lots of other cool things going on. So whether you like metal or not, if you like beer, you will enjoy yourself at this thing.
We're just going to experience something new in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely.
I think that's
It's
what.
always good to spread your wings a little
Yeah, I
bit.
think that's what's missing in Wichita. Is like everybody's stuck in their comfort zones, and
Sure.
sometimes you just need to branch out, try something different, try something
Yeah.
new, because you never know. You might like something.
For sure.
I said I was a bad interviewer, so I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But,
You're doing great.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch upon is like the struggles of the industry.
Yeah.
It's something that a lot of people overlook. I think when restaurants, businesses, bars, whoever it may be, gets criticism, people really don't step back and kind of see like what is really going on, whether it's like food costs, staffing issues, even stuff that happened like post-COVID.
Food cost and labor.
Yeah. It's like, what kind of criticism do you guys get? Is it food costs? I mean, what?
Oh, criticism. I mean, everybody gets a thing like, you're charging too much for this, and it's
Yeah.
like when we cost out menu items, we are never, ever going to inflate a price to make more money. We charge what we need to do to hit our percentage, our goal,
Yeah.
which, even if it's priced at that doesn't mean we're going to hit food costs.
Yeah.
There's things involved with that, waste, labor, It's tough, man. Running restaurants is tough. It's the hardest part of our job is managing the numbers of the restaurant side of things.
Yeah, I think the industry just gets beat up left and right. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Like did you guys had to close for COVID?
We did close. I think we were closed for 5 weeks total.
Yeah, and then the partial thing, and then
then we can only open outside. And then
everybody had to wear a mask, and we had to enforce it.
Yeah.
And boy, was that fun.
Oof. Yeah, I remember hearing stories like customers getting physical with, employees all around the nation after that all happened.
It was tough, man. That was the hardest stretch of this so far, for sure. But yeah, just managing the numbers, man. As far as what do we get grief about? It's sometimes people think we have too many rules, and it's really just at the host stand. I've worked in 1 million restaurants, and our host stand is the toughest host stand gig I've ever seen.
Really?
I swear to God, I don't know what it is.
We have hosts crying quite often.
Yeah.
Because of the customers?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like, we had to institute a thing where we can't seat you till your whole party's here because people either don't know how many people are actually showing up, but then say they need these 2 big tables put together, and
it just wastes people's time.
Right. So it's like so it's a whole thing, but I will tell you the only thing for me is the rocks in the beer garden. Can I just talk about this for a second?
Let's have it.
Okay, so we have all these little, what are they called?
I don't know, gravel?
Gravel. We got gravel out in the beer garden, except for the
hill.
turfed hill out there. And I love kids, and we wanted this place to be so family friendly. We have a freezer at the host stand. Every kid that walks in gets a free popsicle right off the bat.
Okay.
And we got the hill out there, and that's great. And but we have this gravel out there, and I know toddlers especially, they like to grab the ground, grab grass, and grab rocks, and that's great. But they take handfuls of rocks and take them up on the turf and just drop them on the turf, and and that's fine too if it was easy to get the gravel out of the turf, but it's not. It's so hard. And
take notes, parents.
It happens all the time, and we've got signs up and everything, and then they're not wearing shoes, and I can't promise you there's no broken glass out there, and that's on the sign too. You must be wearing shoes, and you must be accompanied by an adult. It's it's not king of the hill and free for all, and that hill is supposed to be the chill hill, and we quit putting cushions out until it gets dark on the hill because nobody can sit on it because it's just being dominated with king of the hill action.
Yeah, kids
it's
will
crazy.
stack the cushions up as high as they can go and then jump on top of them, and we're like,
and then
someone
fall
is gonna
way
hurt
over.
themselves.
Like, it's crazy, man. We love families coming there, and we want your families to come, but just keep an eye on the kids, man. It's
I gotta say, I'm a big advocate for bringing your kids out to restaurants. I do it all the time.
For sure.
But I have never brought my daughter into like a brewery or a bar just because, like, for me, that's like a sanctuary for me to like relax.
Sure.
And unwind, and whether it's like me and my partner hanging out for a little bit or with our friends, it was like, I don't want the responsibility of watching a kid in a brewery when I'm trying to focus on drinking or whatnot.
Yeah, right, sure.
And like the other points of like food costs and like just all that stuff. But I always tell people when they argue with me or troll comments and whatnot, I'm like, name me a single locally owned, family operated bar, restaurant, whatever, that are becoming millionaires from their business.
Right.
Like, everybody's going through the daily grind, and
dude,
like no one's becoming a millionaire off of it.
Yeah.
At least that I know of.
Yeah, no, it's tough, man. It's real tough. What is the meanest thing somebody said to you online?
It was actually towards the tail end of COVID. I brought my daughter out to a restaurant, and then someone commented like, "Oh, you're a horrible father, taking your kid out and whatnot. How could you do that to your kid and whatnot?" Like, just like I have a lot of patience. I think just to
you definitely
deal
do.
with social media, you have to have that patience and whatnot. But when you bring parenting and your kid into it, that's over the line for me. Like, I will go over the line
Pull
on
the Will
certain
Smith
things.
out. Keep my kid's name out your mouth.
Exactly. I was like, would they actually say it to my face? Who knows? They might, but
sure.
That's just.
I doubt it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I can't imagine how a lot of the posts you do get so much interaction, man. I can't imagine how you I mean, do you just stay up late at night scrolling through comments and picking if you need to respond or not?
The right answer should be no, but sometimes I do get caught up into it, and then like I know like I get caught sitting on the couch around my family, and everybody's like saying whatever. Like my head's stuck in my phone, just reading this stuff, trying to like one think about what I should say, two how to like stop thinking about it, and whatnot, because sometimes it doesn't bother me, but there are times it does, you know.
Sure.
And I need to do better at letting it not bother me and whatnot. But
well, I think you do a great job,
hard.
and a lot of times you'll just make a post and explain, like, listen, for those of you that don't know, like, this is just my opinion, and this is what
I think just being transparent and trying to be open about it helps a lot.
No, you've been great at that.
I think a lot of people don't understand the good you do for our industry. Like, you do amazing things for our industry. And I think people just don't understand that sometimes because they're not in the industry, you know, they're just.
I mean, I see it both ways because like sometimes, you know, I give criticism, negative feedback. Sometimes I'm flat out just mean, I guess, on things, but
honesty should never be looked at as mean. It's fine.
Overall, my intention is to support those, provide a voice for the voiceless, so to speak. And I'm not going to like all restaurants. I'm not going to like all businesses. But the ones I do, I will 100% try to champion. Sure. I believe everybody deserves like a cheerleader behind them. And I always tell people, be the biggest advocate for the places you love because you never know, they might close the next day.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's real, man. That's running a family-owned business, like you said, it's not easy. It's definitely a grind. And all these people around Wichita, we're also fortunate in, I mean, just so many areas, music venues, restaurants, bars, you know, I mean, retail stores. Yeah. I mean, so many people have a dream and they open their dream location and store and spot and whatever. And, anytime you can support local, it's not just a saying, like it's like, you know, try and do it. It's, Wichita's a great city and we got a lot of really cool, locally owned stuff, here in this town. So,
and to kind of like slowly close things out, I think what people respect about you guys the most, maybe it's just my thinking, maybe it's the beer talking, I don't know, but you guys just do things how you guys want to do it with honest and purposeful intent. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can ask for. Like the whole no F's given motto, but in a right and good way. Yeah,
no, I mean, there's a line of customer service you have to maintain, but at some point, if somebody's obviously lying about a situation or something, you can call them out on it. You know, like we've had to do that before, and actually very early on, and Becky was so awesome at it. We had this customer that told this absolutely false story that I found out was false after we reviewed the camera footage. Yeah. Accused one of our employees of elbowing her and doing all this stuff. And Becky was like, I know this employee. She wouldn't do that. And I was like, she's very upset, Beck. We need to calm her down and make her stay and enjoy herself. And Becky was like, fuck that. She can leave and all this. And I was like, oh, no, you know, we're upsetting a customer. And then we reviewed the footage, and the customer was the one that elbowed our hostess.
That's just not right, yeah.
And then that was a eye-opener for me, like, oh, my God, like, it's not always the customer's always right. Like, and the thing that taught me, and my wife taught me this the first week we were open, because that's when that incident happened, was, you know, have your employees back. 'Cause I've never had employees before. This is my first time having people that work for us. And so my first knee-jerk is, whatever my employee tells me is what happened is the word until I find out different, you know.
And I think we're at that point where, the customer's always right isn't really a motto that should be used anymore.
I agree.
Not when they're being rude.
Yeah, or physical.
Right.
I shouldn't say a restaurant owner reached out to me a couple weeks ago and sent me some pictures of their staff that got scratched, punched, and bit.
Whoa.
Yeah, yikes. And he said he filed the police report and everything. So I was like, do you want me to go public with this? Because people need to know these situations, because the restaurant industry is getting shit on enough. And then to take it to a different level to where there's like altercations, like even getting elbowed is not right. Like anytime a staff member or a customer's get in touch, that should never happen.
Right.
So that stuff like that, I was like, that just pissed me off. And I was like, you let me know when we're going to go public with this, and let's do this, because you got to stand up for these type of situations.
Oh, for sure. And well, there's certain rules I haven't, we have in place since day one. Is like, nobody's allowed to touch you.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they're berating you, like, just get a manager. And the girls have all joined forces together and told everybody, don't get Dan. Because I'm very protective.
As you should be.
And
He is way protective of all
Yeah.
of us. And so some situations it's like he's just going to get himself in trouble.
Yeah, I get it. At the same time, at least they know you have their back and the respect there.
Yeah.
I got the torn bicep now from bouncing that one guy out of there.
But you got the left arm.
I do have a left arm. Yeah.
Well, one thing we did not touch upon, and I want to do this before we close things out, is one, where you guys located at. I don't even think we said the address.
Oh.
125 North St. Francis.
And that's at the corner, basically, of St. Francis and Douglas.
Yep.
How can people find you, like, online? Socials?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram.
Yep. Nortons Brewing on Instagram.
We have a website.
NortonsBrewing.com. You can reserve Igloos on there. You can check out our menu and order to-go food on there. You can check out our beers on tap, all kinds of fun stuff. I would say follow us on socials for all of the events and stuff that we have going on. We got a lot of cool events coming up here soon. We got a collaboration with Butler Hemp Company, a local company. They extract CBD and CBDA and all of that stuff. I'm still learning the lingo on there.
CBDA is pretty new, I think, or
who knows? I don't know. From hemp,
Yeah.
and we came to them with some hops, which is kind of a cousin of marijuana, and had them extract the terpenes and flavor and aroma molecules from these hops, and we use that in a beer. And we're going to be tapping that on December 22nd, as well as launching a cocktail garnished with one of their CBD gummies, Delta 9 gummies.
Okay.
And then and then Christmas Eve, we've got our annual CBD Santa special cookies, a CBD sugar cookie goza going on tap, as well as Grilla, which is a hot chocolate marshmallow imperial stout. And we're doing a 14-ounce prime rib dinner special that night. Really great cut of prime rib. And Santa will be there, and Doodad's permanent jewelry and fortune telling and all kinds of fun shit.
You said that was December 22nd?
23rd.
23rd.
Christmas
Okay,
Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas
All right.
Eve.
I will try to get that episode up before then.
Oh, cool.
That might be this Monday then. Okay.
Right on.
Well, Dan, Becky, any last words for your fans, followers?
No, man. Thanks for having us on. And again, thanks for all that you do for everybody in the industry in Wichita. You really are a champion for this town and for business owners. And you're awesome, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.